Hello, my DevNation friends. I hope you are doing fine. I hope it's not too hot. I have to say it's really, really hot here. But yeah, again, an exciting tech talk today. It's the last one, and then we will have our summer break. But don't worry, in September we will be back with awesome content. So don't be shy on the chat. I saw Kevin already say hello. Sumaya say hello. So say hello on the chat. Don't be shy, and of course, ask your questions during the tech talk. So today I'm really excited to have my guest who will show you crazy things about GitHub. Let me bring him to the stage right now. Welcome, Bartosz. Hey.
Hi, Sebastian. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm melting here like everyone else, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I think
It's
it's
gonna be a
everyone.
challenging one.
It will be a challenging one. Yeah, at least you're not showing stuff that will consume too much CPU on your computer. Should be
No,
okay.
well, yeah, I mean, right now I have 81 Celsius on the
Yeah, yeah,
CPU. I think it can go up to,
yeah.
I don't know, 90 something, and then I will
Okay.
be frozen and then I'm
Yeah.
gone. So hopefully it won't be happening
Yeah,
today.
at least you're not showing any SCADA, so that we
No,
should be on
not
the
really.
same page. Anyway, I was trolling. Hey, oh yeah, and we have Daniel from the USA in Maryland. Hey, okay, hey, Bartosz, you know what? Without waiting, I give you the stage,
Sure.
and I show you. I put the screen share. I remove
Right.
myself, and I see you at the end. Good luck. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
One detail though I forgot to mention, I'm not running any Scala, but my presentation runs on Node, so same. Anyway, I'm super excited to be here. It's my second DevNation Tech Talk. Today, slightly different topic, not really super technical, but very related to our technical life. Because I bet all of you know what GitHub is, and for some of us, it's a central piece of our workflow. So in this talk, we're gonna talk a bit about the ways of doing a makeover in GitHub. Because despite of continuous user experience improvements done by the great GitHub team, there are still a few things we can do better. And what I would like to share with you today is the way how I customized my GitHub and which tools I'm using on a daily basis to improve my productivity. After all, what we want to spend time on is to work on problems that matter and not necessarily fighting with the tool or wasting time clicking around. So this talk is very much focused on developers' productivity in GitHub. But if there's gonna be only one thing you will remember after we are done with this stream, let it be this: refined GitHub. It's a browser extension with tons of UX improvements, and I will demonstrate some of them, but that's gonna be a tip of an iceberg. It's a massive set of great things, so go ahead and give it a try. It will really change the way how GitHub works and will make your life easier. And actually, to be honest with you, I often get confused by announcements on Twitter done by GitHub because some features they talk about has been available for me since ages. I mean, a lot of things from refined GitHub landed on official GitHub UI after a while. So it's really a game changer and extension worth to check. So with this little intro out of the way, let's see some action. So let's go to the GitHub repo. So when we go to the GitHub repo, we actually see this. It's quite a lot of wasted space, and it's even more evident when we browse the code. It's lots of things on the left and right which are unused yet. Maybe advertisements will fix it. So we go to Chrome Store and we install an extension called White GitHub. And then when we refresh, it's the space is all taken by the code, so we can focus on what matters, on the stuff we want to understand and reason about. So White GitHub is the first very cool extension you can look at. And if we go back to the repo, it's actually kind of boring, dark, and dull. So let's improve it. Let's revamp it. We can install GitHub VS Code icons. And then when we refresh, everything is different, everything is colorful. Every single file has a different icon attached to it. So for me in particular, it's easy to reason, it's easy to immediately see what I'm looking for. For example, I see there is one file called tools go, which is written in Go, or there's a make file, because icons are quickly comprehensible symbols. I can quickly correlate what the given file is all about, versus to the regular thing which has just simple directory versus file icon next to it. So before we move on, let's actually install Refined GitHub. We go to the repository, we scroll a bit down because it's quite a big project, there's lots of files, to land in the README, and we see it works for all the major browsers. We go to the Chrome store because that's what I'm using right now. We install it. It shows us some welcome page. We close everything. We refresh, and the first thing I can immediately do, I can just fold it, fold the repo content, and I see the README. This is in particularly useful when we just want to read what the project is all about. It's just there. We can collapse it and dive into the README. So now, as we made a bit of a visual improvements, let's maybe talk a little bit about the shortcuts. How do we navigate? I personally believe it's very important to know your tools inside out, especially those which you use daily on the daily basis. So, for example, I think knowing your ID shortcuts is very important to keep me in the zone, to keep me focused, because I don't want to spend time going to the menu items or clicking around just to find the way how to run the tests. So GitHub, like many other services, offers such shortcuts too. Actually, if you try what I'm about to show you on Gmail or Twitter, you will be surprised because they also provide you without mouse navigation. So how do we learn those shortcuts? We essentially, let me just unfold it and type question mark, and we have all the list with the important things which we can learn. So for example, we can go to pull request by typing GP. We can go to issues by typing GI. Or we can go to GitHub Actions by typing GA, to security by typing GS, and going back to code by typing GC. So with this go and the first letter of the section of GitHub we want to go to, we easily can just go around without clicking. GP go to pull request, GC go to code, and so on and so forth. By typing question mark, you can learn all of them. So moreover, there is a command palette. You type Control K and you can just navigate through the command palette easily. Or there is a command mode palette, which will let you run commands in the repository, interact with it. So for example, we can open a web editor. Actually, when you type dot on in your repository, you can open it right away. And this is kind of like VS Code. It's a simple VS Code with code highlighting and the way of browsing the code, but it gives you a nice way of familiarizing yourself with the code base without cloning the repository locally. And about the editing code in the browser, we will get back to it later. So while we are poking at the code, maybe let's have a look at some tests. Which is actually looking at tests is a great way of learning the code base. For example, if you want to learn how to use your favorite library, the first thing I do, I search for tests and I can see how the API is structured, how I can use it. If it's a well-maintained library, you will find a lot of examples done through tests to show you how you can use it in your code. So let's go to the repository and search for some tests. I can type letter T, and by doing so, I can just start typing underscore test go, and it will show me the test in this repository. And there is one which is a bit lengthy, and I don't really want to scroll that much, so let's make it a bit better. Let's install another extension, which is called GitHub Code Folding. And by doing so, we get a bit of a IDE-like experience. We can just fold the sections and just read those which are interesting for us without even scrolling down. So that's a cool little thing you can try. I find it pretty useful. So, okay, let's dive into these tests a bit more. If you look at the one which is on line 34, it looks a bit strange because it says that it expects latest release to not actually be the latest release. This is a test smell. So I believe we have a bug in here, and maybe we can open an issue and talk about this one. So we have a link to this file, but there is a little problem with it. The link points to master and or any other branch, which will be the default one, maybe main. And this is a moving target. A year from now, this might not even exist. So when opening an issue, it's quite important to point at the exact version you're looking at. So we can easily fix it. Just let's select the region of the code, so from 34 to 44, and if we type Y, uh, we will immediately see that the URL has changed, and we can use it to create an issue. I type GI, then I type C, and I click on back report, and I can start typing issue title. I have the link to everything I need at hand. Because the link points to the latest commit and it points to the region of the code. By typing Y, you get it immediately. And if you have refined GitHub installed, actually typing Y will also populate the link to your clipboard. So you don't have to select it from the browser bar. All right, so let's start filling in the details. I say it's confusing logic of a latest release test for v00 case. That's probably good enough. I remove the template because it's not really relevant for me. I paste the link to the exact repo and I just give a bit of a description saying the tests above has confusing logic. It fetches latest release and expects that it is not the latest release. All right, so I can create an issue, and as you can see, I have a code fragment displayed immediately, and it only points to the regions I selected on the previous screen, and it pins it to the very moment where I was looking at it, so the latest commit of this file. So assuming no one will mess around with Git history, this will stay forever. Okay, so we are already a good open source contributor because we open an issue, and it's a great thing to do. But we can actually go one step further. Maybe we can try and fix this weird looking test. So for this purpose, I go back and I open what is called Codespaces. It's a full-blown GitHub IDE, which is based in the browser. It's a closed beta. You can sign up. Takes a few days. So now I have my IDE, which is VS Code like. Gonna create the branch and name it test_fix. Close the README and look for the test file. It was right here, I guess. Yeah. So now we can try to rework this confusing logic. I'll just remove this and say v underscore current version will be v underscore version. And then we just pass this current version to our function. And this is already reflecting what the test should be about. And now a bit of an explanation. The v underscore version here is a placeholder which by default is set to v000 when it's compiled, for example, against a tag when we do a release. Through the compile flags, this will be replaced and the binary itself will have the version which it was built against. And there are two reasons for this test to fail. One is obvious. I mean, we just changed the test. We haven't changed the behavior. The other one is a bit more nuanced. This particular piece of code is testing latest release by calling GitHub API. So it fetches the list of releases, get the latest one, and will use it as a source of truth. However, in the tests, it's actually good to cut off the third-party dependencies, especially if they can fail, and GitHub unfortunately sometimes fails. And for all of us who work in GitHub, it might be painful. So for this reason, you can see on the line 21, there's a Gog off. Gog is a framework which let me stop responses for the given requests. And we have to do a little fix here. When I was preparing the demo, I learned without this little tweak, it will fail. So let's do it as the first thing, and then we're gonna dive into the function under test. So let's go ahead and scroll up to before each, and I'll just say it needs to be persisted, otherwise after the first call it will fail. So I'm saying calling this latest release, I can provide the fixture and it will work. I go to the is latest release. First thing I do, I just rename. It's an IDE, so I'll just rename the parameter, and then I call latest release and assign the results. So the release version or the latest release is something I'm interested in, and for sake of the demo, I ignore the error. And then I change the comparison to be against the latest release. And now, actually, what I can do, I have to remove the import statement here because Go will fail compilation if it's unused import. Now I go to terminal and run the tests, and hey, I have a green bar. So I have a full-blown IDE with a container which is tailored for my needs, which has all the tooling installed for Go. So I can use Go, I can compile Go files, I can run make, I can do lots of things, and I didn't really have to configure anything. I just open it up and it reasoned about the environment and prepared the container for me. So pretty cool, I would say. Okay, I think we fixed this. It's time to open the pull request. And we do it also from code spaces. So now I'll use the mouse. I will commit my files. I will say fix test, because that's what I guess I changed, and reworks v00 test case. Maybe a bit more explanation here. I will say fixes logic determining if past version string is in fact latest release. Oh, it's complaining too long. I'm a bit talkative, so maybe in fact is a bit unnecessary here. So this way I can just create the commit. And yeah, I guess we can create the PR. And this we also do straight from here. I have an extension for creating PRs. I compare my source and target branch. Maybe I'll remove the template here because I know it inside out. It's my repository. I'll just probably reference to the issue by saying fixes ALS21, if I remember correctly. I create it. I have to publish the branch. And then with this, I have my pull request created and it's open in my IDE. So it's pretty cool way of creating stuff. Now, what can we do with this? Let's pretend that we are the maintainer. So I go to the repository and I have to sign out now because I cannot review my own PRs. I have a test account, which I will use. So just to pretend we are in the serious project with a maintainer who immediately reviews pull requests. I log in. And the dashboard I don't use, it just gives me the feeling of LinkedIn or Facebook, so I don't have any productivity tips for you about this one. I go back to my repository, go to the pull requests, and I have here a few things. The dimmed pull requests are those done by bots. That's what refined GitHub is doing. So if you're annoyed by the Panda bot, this gives you a visual comfort. Now I have this, I type G4, that's from the pull request refined GitHub enhancement. I hide the tree because I don't like it. That's a GitHub beta option. I have a better one I found a long time ago. It's a better pull request, so I'm installing it right away. I refresh, and now you can see at least I have icons, so it's a bit visually a bit more appealing. So I can just scroll down, just see all the diffs and changes. Everything, I guess, looks good. So I viewed this one. I think I'm done with this one. So you can see that the progress changed. The two files are viewed and the tree is reflecting it. And I say it looks good to me. And here is another cool thing about refined GitHub is that in the original version, if I remember correctly, because it's been ages since I used GitHub without refined GitHub, there is a drop down which gives you three radio buttons, and this little thing just changes the whole experience to have a relevant comment. I might be wrong, but this is what I think refined GitHub provides or made GitHub provide, as that was a cool feature. So I approve it. Um, and now I squash and merge because I feel happy about the change as a maintainer. But I don't like the title. So I will change the title because it's not fixing the test. So I say it actually fixes the release logic. And yeah, how to phrase it better? Reworks how maybe check no latest release check works. I confirm, so it squashes and merges, branch is deleted, it's gone. And actually, together with renaming the commit, it also renames the PR title, which is the feature of refined GitHub. And since I referenced my issue through fixes, let's call it keyword or directive, it's the related issues are closed as well, but that's a well-known feature, I believe. Right, so pretty cool stuff. And everything I've done so far was actually done in the browser. I haven't left the browser to look through the code, open it in IDE looking web editor, and then actually change the code using code spaces, which is an IDE based on VS Code. And I ran the tests from within this browser-based IDE, and everything what was needed to deliver this little fix was done from the browser. But yeah, I think we can now switch and get a bit of a nerdy feeling. So let's go to the command line. What I will show you now is a GitHub CLI tool. It's been created a while ago, I think 2 years perhaps, and it lets you interact with GitHub in shell. Uh, it's very cool if you like command line like me. I use command line mainly, it's my mainly driver, but it also simplifies a lot all the automation we do in CI/CD ecosystem or world. Because instead of using curl with some handcrafted JSON payloads, we can actually use higher level constructs from GitHub CLI, and on top of that, having the tool up to date with the GitHub API and has a feature parity and better ways of expressing our interactions. The origins of this project comes from the tool called Hub, and it's actually written by people who created Hub, and the team now is bigger. Hub was written in Ruby, if I'm not mistaken. This one is written in Go, which makes me more excited. And the coolest thing about GitHub CLI is that it has an extension mechanism built in, and we'll see a few of those in action. Okay, so let's switch to shell and do a bit of a shell foo. So let's see what GitHub offers. I type GitHub help and pipe it to less so I can scroll if I need. And here you have all the base commands. So by typing GitHub browse, you can open the repository in the browser, you can create gists, you can manage issues, pull requests, releases. You can even connect and manage the code space, which I was showing you. And all the also low-level things like secrets, keys, labels, and so on. So yeah, let's go ahead and maybe try to check out a PR from this project. Since our original one was merged, let's take a look at the Pandabot ones, those which are dimmed in the PR list. So I go ahead and type GitHub PR list, and then I see the list of already open PRs. And to check out, it's as simple as GitHub PR checkout number 19, for example. This is fetching the branch and switching our Git local Git repository to it. So this way we can invoke build, we can test, maybe we can even do some changes in our IDE and push it back. So it's very easy way of getting the code changes fetched to your local repository and fiddle with it. I still remember that I had to create some weird looking alias for exactly the same thing. This I think is way superior. Okay, so that was, let's say, maintainer world. Let's switch the site and go to the uh, world of submitter. So I have this other project I worked on today with small changes. I'll just go ahead and create the commit for it. So I say it moves the logic of commands, and the reason for this is to decouple the develop command from the telepresence specific operations, just a little refactoring. Now I can push, set the tracking branch, and I push it to the remote. So it's pushed, and now if I would follow the GitHub advice, which is prompted to me after pushing, I would visit the URL and create the PR in the browser. But we are in CLI, I won't do it. So let's do it differently. So I can just create the PR and let's see what I can do with it. So there are two important things which I find useful. The first one is the fill, which will prefill the title and the body, and the label, which will let us use the labels. So I can list the labels and sort them by name. So I will know what kind of labels I have in the project. So now I see I can use component CLI and kind enhancement. So it's a GitHub PR creates with autofill, and then the label being kind enhancement, and the label being component CLI, and that's it. I hit enter, and I have my PR created. And we could go and visit this URL, but we can stick to shell and see the PRs from here. For this, I have extensions, so let me list my extensions here. The one which is interesting for us is called GitHub Dash. So the dashboard, when I type GitHub Dash, it fetches pull requests, which are mine. The latest one was just created, and you can see I have a bunch of checks still pending. And from here, I can just see what work needs to be done, and I have a nice overview of everything, which I find pretty cool. So, right, before we conclude, we can actually do one more thing. I have other branches checked out, and for the PRs which are already merged, so we can clean up our local repository. And for this, we can use the GitHub POI, the second last extension. So if we type GitHub POI, whatever it stands for, I forgot. It fetches the pull request, and you can see it deleted the branch, replace end-to-end test containers, which had the PR associated with it. But the PR was merged, so the branch in the remote was deleted, so that's not needed anymore. So this little extension will take care of housekeeping. And it also shows at the very bottom that the current branch I'm at has a PR open. Like there are other few which are as well open. So it gives you this visual / textual overview of relationships between your local repository and the GitHub remote. All right, so there are two other add-ons I want to briefly talk about. I used them in the past, but I found other alternatives. However, they deserve special mention as they helped me improving my productivity, and maybe you will find them more useful than what you have seen today. So the first one is called Octotree. Uh, Octotree gives you a nice tree view of the repository content, which you can pin on the left-hand side. Uh, Easy way of navigating and understanding what's the structure of the project if it's a new one for you. Uh, it also gives you a search. It comes with two flavors though. It has a free option and then the paid one. The paid one, I don't remember exactly, but it's a few bucks per month. So if you wanna support this handy project, by all means do it. The paid version will give you icons in the tree, so more or less the same stuff as what you see in my repository. And it also gives you, I think, a better search, some peer review process enhancements, which I don't even know how they differ from refined GitHub, because refined GitHub gives me all the things I need. Uh, and I think the other one is to have multiple tabs for open files within the repo, not as a browser tabs, but as a part of the GitHub UI. And the second tiny one is GitHub issue status. This gives you a visual indicator of the status of the issue. So next to this fixes 957, you have this little check mark which indicates that the issue is closed. So before we conclude, I showed you a bunch of tools, mentioned the names. There might have been not so easy to memorize. So I have a little markdown list for you in my clipboard. So this is the list of things I created or mentioned. It's a markdown list. You can write them down. You can make a screenshot, but I'll instead create the gist for you using GitHub CLI. So I will pipe my clipboard to GitHub gist create. I make it public because by default it's private. That's a good one. Then the title, and I say it's a markdown file because markdown will let GitHub render it visually, so you will have some bullet points and paragraphs, so a bit more visually appealing than plain markdown syntax. So here's the link to the gist. You can memorize the nice little hash or just use this bit.ly link, which I hope we can have in the chat right now. And that's all I had. Thank you so much. I'm Bartosz Majsak. I work for Red Hat. You can follow me on Twitter or see what I'm up to on GitHub by using those two coordinates you can see in the bottom left corner. So that's it. I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bartosz. That was great. I learned a few stuff. And especially, I love the command line because just to check out a pull request, because I know that every time I'm struggling adding a new remote and then checking out this remote, and then, yeah, that seems so smooth to do. Just check out pull request number 25, and that's it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let me see. There's one question, one remark. Let me. So Evan was saying, "Hey, wow! I had no idea about the dot period shortcut." So that was something that someone learned. And we have a question from Charles. How
Yeah.
did why work again? So why the shortcut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I can explain or I can share the screen. I mean, explanation is easy. When you type Y when looking at the file at GitHub, it will replace the URL, so it's not pointing to the branch you're looking at, but the latest commit which this file was changed with. So it replaces blob master with the full-blown hash. And if you use refined GitHub, hitting Y will additionally copy this link to clipboard. So you don't have to hit Control L to get to the browser tab or browser URL bar to hit Control C, right? So you have two shortcuts less to memorize. You have all at once.
Okay, cool.
My name is
And
hard to pronounce. Yeah,
yeah,
it
oh
is.
yeah. Oh, you see the questions there. So you see question from Kevin. I can put it on the screen as well. Is there a good way tool that you can recommend to see high or urgent issues amongst all the project's repos?
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, because GitHub notification. So there, I used to use Octobox, and it has some of the filtering slash organizing features, but it's been ages. I use GitHub notifications, but I agree that they are a bit cumbersome to use as far as getting the most important things to have all at hand. I normally just have some labels slash search criteria, but that's per repo basis. So I don't really have the tool which can have them all.
Mm-mm-mm.
Maybe you can try Octobox. I
Octobox.
think I think it's still around, but as I said, I haven't used it lately. So yeah,
Okay.
don't have a perfect
Yeah.
answer for that.
And if it doesn't exist, we need
But
someone needs to
what I will
create it.
do, I will go figure it out, and I will put the comment on YouTube
Yeah.
on this
Yeah,
stream.
sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good idea. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let me see. No more other questions. If people have a latest question, it's still time. But you have to type it now before we melt completely. I turned off the echo for it.
Uh,
Otherwise, it's too noisy. And
Maybe you can share the link to Octobox.
oh yeah. That's a
I'm
good
not
one.
sure I
Yeah.
can do it in the chat
No,
because
it will
it
be
looks like
filtered
read
out.
only for me. I
Yeah.
just
So,
shared it with you. So that's the one I used before.
yeah.
It's kind of like inbox for all the things.
Oh yeah. Octotree. And by the way, Octotree, the honorable mention.
Yep.
I think I was using it. It has been removed from my extensions, but for a long moment I was using that. Yeah.
Yeah. There is another one, Sumo tree or something like that. It makes your repository view, the default one,
Mm.
acting as a tree. The problem is that it does so many round trips that it saturates the token rate limit
Oh
very
yeah.
quickly. So I'm not using it.
Yeah.
The,
And Sumaya, yeah, I posted just before, but let me put it again. So that is the link to the gift, and it contained all the extensions, all the tools that the Bartokers use. So yeah, you should have it there. And again, if you come back later on this YouTube URL, you will have the replay of this tech talk, and you will also have the chat, so you can find the all the links. And
right.
yeah, and yeah, okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Bartosz. This was great way
Sure,
to
my
end
pleasure.
this season of Tech Talks. There were a lot of people, yeah, so that's nice. For everyone, yeah, so we are on a summer break. Keep an eye on Red Hat Developers website. We will have some summer camp stuff, game board stuff. Just keep an eye on our Twitter account. When it will be ready, you will see it. So even from the pool, you will be able to do great stuff and get ready for September, and where we will have again tech talks, the show, deep dives, DevNation events, and yeah. And Sumaya, he wants all the comments. Well, I think in the well, I don't know if you have a cheat sheet of all the comments that you type.
Well, there is one. Just type question mark on
Yeah.
GitHub,
Oh yeah,
and
question
this will
mark.
show you everything.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, it's the
that's
Uber, the
yeah, that's
Uber
the Uber
shortcut.
list. And when you install the refined GitHub, actually the list is extended by the commands added by refined GitHub. So for example, G4 is not the built-in one; it's a one from refined GitHub, which takes you to the tab number 4 in the pull request, which is the files you can review, right?
Yeah.
So this is the way to learn the shortcuts. So question mark, try it on Twitter, try it on Gmail. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all the same unified cheat sheet experience. It's
Mm,
quite funny to learn that you can use Twitter without mouse. It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
So Kevin is asking if there are any hackathons from Reddit. So from our team, there are some hackathons plans part of Summit Connect that will happen in the US in September. I don't know where you're based, Kevin. Brown. Could be that you're based in Belgium. I'm just making an assumption, or Europe. In Europe, we are also making some stuff. I've nothing concrete to share with you. Sumaya, what will happen in September? Well, September will be the summer will be almost over and PTO will be over. So we will be back at work doing great stuff like tech talks like today, deep dives, maybe a destination conference day, virtual maybe on site. So just keep an eye on it. Oh, Canada. So Kevin, if you want to if you want to do a hackathon, September the 15th in New York, not that far away, you can come over do a hackathon for Summit.
Right. So one note from my side, I'll just comment on this gist and paste all the shortcuts I shown so that people will have a reference. So I'll just update the gist in the comment because I see
Okay.
there was an ask for all the to share all the comments, and I think Kevin shared the notes, so I will
Oh
take
yeah.
it and make an
Yeah.
extended list just after. So
Okay.
expect it to be updated in like 5 minutes.
Super cool. Oh, Sumaya, you have a lot of questions, yeah, about your learning subscription. To be honest, I don't know too much about it, but you know what? In the chat, I will just write my Reddit email, and you can just send me an email with all your questions, and I will forward that to the concerning teams and try to help you. Franklin, thanks for this presentation. Yeah, so we have some people on the chat thanking you, and
Sure. Thank you.
I have to give back the channel now to for the. I don't know if there are any other things today, but anyway, I need to go out of my office before I completely melt down. Again, Bartosz, thank you so much. Thank you everyone on the chat. Be safe, enjoy your summer, and see you back in September. And let me find the can you paste the GIF in the chat again? Yeah, sure. Let me do that again. I can do it. And I paste it, and there we are. Hey, thank you so much. Enjoy your summer,
Thank
and
you.
Bartosz, see you.
Yeah. Till next one. Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.